said, look, we're we're kind of in a rock and a hard place here. And of course, Sophia suggested, well, I know two guitar players that are rock stars that can completely pull this off. And so they were like, okay, let's see. And so she pulled up some stuff from our tour last year and some pictures of us and all of that kind of stuff. And they were really impressed, and they were fans of Orgy. Turned out the producers knew of Orgy and remembered Orgy and all of that. So they were like, "Oh my God, this is so cool! Like, do you think these guys would do it?" And that's when we started getting the calls at like midnight. Well, I'm still in LA.
I was in bed.
Yeah. And so we were of course like, as long as this is going to be presented in a really, really cool way, then yes, we would definitely want to do it. And so I came home and started pulling all my clothes out and trying to figure out. And then I realized, oh shit, our storage locker isn't even open, because we had to be there at 9:45 in the morning to do our first what do you call it, test or run through or whatever they were doing.
Well,
So
we had
yeah.
to be there early for the COVID test.
Oh, for the COVID
Even
test.
even
That's right.
before that, yeah, you had to get
Right,
there
right, right.
early, and it's in downtown LA. So this is like a 5 or 6 a.m. wake with a
Yeah,
midnight call, which was
yeah.
that was my first question. I was like, well, when is this thing? She's like, well, it's tomorrow at like 5 is when it airs. I go, okay, so does that mean we're up at 5 a.m.? She's all, no, no, no. Well, and I go, well, okay, what time's rehearsal? And she's like, oh, like 10:45. And I go, okay, so it's in downtown LA. She's like, yeah. And I'm doing math in my head, and she goes. And I go, okay, and we have to get tested, right? Probably. She's like, yep. And I'm like, what time is that? She's all like 9. And I go, okay, so, and then we don't even know what we're playing. She's all, no, no. She's all, but it's going to be, we're going to do like a guitar part thing into like a remix. I go, okay, it sounds like we have to learn something. She's all, yep. And I go, okay, so this is actually a lot of shit really quickly, and we have to walk up on stage and do it perfectly. She goes, yep. And so I'm like, so 5 a.m. She's all, yeah. I go, okay. I go, so I'm going to just go to bed, and you just, in the morning, we'll talk. Like, I don't care what it is we're going to do. Amir and I'll figure it out in the morning. But I'm going to go to bed because I know that right now, if I don't go, I was going to read for a while, and I don't want to go to bed at like 1 a.m. and get up at 5 or 6 a.m. So she's like, okay. And I'm like, you can just, any time of the night, because I know you're probably not going to bed, just send us, ideas or whatever it is you guys think you want to do. And so in the morning, Amir and I both got up super, super early and had some ideas and of what it was going to be. It wasn't even final. And so we figured all that out literally before, in our pajamas at 6 a.m. And I think Amir grabbed me at what, 7:30 a.m. or something like that, or
Yeah, and
something.
what I was saying too is like we couldn't even get into our storage locker,
Yeah.
so it was kind of like,
What
I was,
guitars? What do you have
yeah,
here?
I wanted to make sure that obviously we had something that represents what we do, of course. And so, I would have loved to grab a Disruptor or a Roswell Star or something like that, um, to play that, because I thought that would even be cooler. But at least it turned out that both of us had our Yamaha signatures. Ryan didn't even have a strap that worked. So I had to get strap locks on a strap and bring him a strap. Um, and because important for us is that, obviously I want to have our look all the way, including the guitars and everything else. So I think it worked out fine that we both had our Yamahas. It actually came off very cool and militant. Um, by both of us having the same kind of guitars and all of that. And yeah, and we got there and we just started working on it, and we had a lot of different rehearsals for it. They immediately loved what we were doing right out of the gate. The first rehearsal we did, they were like, "This is great." Um, they went over our costuming. Of course, we brought all of our own outfits and lots of options for that. We kind of made a few fine tunings for it. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into something even just that simple, like, just a simple little, whatever 20-second segment. I mean, there's so much work that goes into that behind the scenes. There was a lot of people we had to meet with. There was a lot of things we had to sign. It was really cool though. I mean, we got to meet a lot of stars that day. I mean, we were literally standing there as all these people were walking in, like the whole cast of Ted Lasso, and uh, I mean, we were literally just like,
Succession,
yeah,
Hacks, everything. I mean, you walk up there and you have to do it perfectly right in front of Jason Sudeikis. And you're just
yeah,
like, oh, okay, cool. Like, these are all the people that we love, all these shows that we really love. Let me answer a couple questions here that are actually really good. Simon, your haircut looks very handsome. Always have that haircut forever. Was the first part of the mix Master of Puppets? It sounded like it. That's a really good question, Kathy. Actually, so the whole thing was a play off of Eddie's, kind of air guitar or whatever, rocking out part of Stranger Things, right? Because it was a Stranger Things mashup. And that was a big sell for me, whether or not we were going to do it, because I love Stranger Things and I thought that would be really cool to honor it like that. But they couldn't really do the straight up Metallica. You know what I mean? So they wanted it to be kind of Guitar Hero-y and then into like a cooler thing. And so we were like, all right, that's cool. So the riff is kind of like not Metallica, but kind of Metallica, how people do that. So I think that there's not issues with getting the clearance and all that kind of stuff and all the things you might have to do if you're going to have fucking Master of Puppets playing on the primetime Emmys. But it was definitely a nod to that. And there was a couple other good questions here. Interesting thing, referring to some of these questions and others that I'm getting here on my phone. The Stranger Things worked really, really well because you guys might notice on the Edema video, Violent Principles, my outfit, I have like this custom kind of vest, torn up vest over like my leather jacket. And then I have like this kilt on over like jeans. Well, the whole idea behind all of that was actually influenced by me watching the last season of Stranger Things and seeing the denim vest over the leather that Eddie's wearing. And that's the way that we used to dress when I was in high school, when we were in like heavy metal and shit like that. That's like what the metalheads would wear. And I was like a metalhead. I had long hair and I would wear leather and like a vest over it and stuff. And I thought that was super cool. And the idea behind the kilts for me, it isn't just like a homage to Jonathan Davis and all that kind of stuff, which is great. And that absolutely, like he's a huge inspiration and good friend of mine. And I love what he does. And I think it's cool. The idea behind it was actually when we used to tie flannel shirts around our waist and have them fall, hang down with the leather jacket and the vest. I like seeing those layers happen. And so that's how we slowly kind of piece together this thing. And it's largely influenced by the last season of Stranger Things. So it's funny because it just worked perfectly. And they actually came in and they were asking us, hey, we have some Stranger Things vests. Would you guys want to wear that? And I was like, well, this is what I'm wearing. They're like, never mind. That's way cooler. So that was super cool. And the vest was made by Ghost Circus by Eli. So that's really, really rad. Although AMIR, I think we're dumb because we should have said, yeah, let's see the Stranger Things vests. We should have taken them.
yeah. I thought that they actually, I thought we did say that. I think we said like, well, we'll take a look at these vests or whatever. But then I think they were both like, no, you know what? You guys look way cool. Like, we don't need to mess with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
kind of shot it down. I think we did ask though.
Yeah, that
Because
sucks.
we would have ran off with those.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can still get them because I think that would be actually really cool.
Totally.
Darn it. Well, dang it. All right. So, anyways, that's the tale. Yeah, we got to meet all sorts of cool people and really strange things. All these rad people that we love on all the shows that we love, are saying hi to us and all this fucking funny shit. The weird thing is that all the actors love the rock stars. They all love the dudes in black leather with the fucking weird guitar. They like are obsessed with it. So they all come up and talk to you and say and look at you and say hi. And I saw who's watching the Lord of the Rings on Amazon? It's the Rings of Power. It's really good. And the main elf, he was there running around, and I was like, oh, it's the elf. And so yeah, tons of cool stuff. Super fun, super cool. Definitely, probably will say yes to some things like that again in the future. So all right, well, without further ado, I have you all muted this time without the ability to unmute yourselves. And I will obviously, when you raise your hand, you can come on. I'll ask you to unmute. The reason I'm doing that is because a lot of people come and go, and there's a lot of. I usually handle it without you guys knowing, but or you guys hear it for a second and it goes away. It's because while I'm talking and not breaking my stride, I'm fucking feverishly isolating who it is, going in, muting it, and then it unmutes. So anyways, people come in and they don't mute themselves and stuff. So it's so loud on the session. It's so disruptive that I just turn that ability off because it's just too hard for me to keep my train of thought when these things are happening in the background that that no one really knows is really happening. So anyways, cool. So yeah, so that's the story. That's the story, and it's pretty funny and pretty cool and pretty awesome, and it was great fun to do. I'll go ahead and leave the chat up. So let's get into this fucking song here. So yeah, Temple is a giant beast. So you can see here, this is like, see all these little lines? I mean, that's how many layers of drums. This is how many layers of bass. Look at the guitars right there. Layers and layers and layers. Keys are a little more straightforward, and then there's 900 layers of vocal. Not really 900, but there is a lot. It's stacked central. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. As I was kind of studying the lyrics after I was reading your guys' desire vocally stated on our different little on Patreon and the different places where I asked the questions to do this song, I was stoked because I love this song, and then I was equally a little frightened because it's tricky to say what it's about. So I had to really go back in, and before I decided, we'll do this song, I kind of was reading it this week so that I could kind of figure out how to explain it, because it's not as, once you do the whole thing and talk about it, it's not as easy for me to sum up, but I'm still kind of working on it. So maybe as we go through it, I'll be able to speak to it a little bit better. So we usually skip drums because that's just too much stuff. But let's Amir, how did this song come about?
This was actually a song that we did with Eric.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep. Eric Stoffel, who we had on, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, talking about Strange Invisible. This was another song, but I feel like, I don't know, this one went through a lot of changes.
Yeah, so much so that I don't remember the source. I don't remember where this came from.
Yeah, I don't.
I remember it was. I remember it was kind of a lot. Like we didn't really know where to go with it. Mm-hmm. And I know that I kind of, when what became the chorus happened, I wanted this kind of like these statements. I wanted these statement piece lines. I wanted a song like that would be fun to sing live. I do remember the verse was first, and I came up with the verse quickly as per usual. Like it was like this. And then I had a ton of trouble writing verse 2, right? Because verse 1 just rolled off the tongue. But yeah, I don't exactly know how this seed started. No ideas?
I'm thinking, because there's so many interesting little elements in this song. One
I can start tearing it apart.
Yeah, I remember one being this weird sample, and I don't remember where that came from, but that weird, it almost sounds like a screaming sound at the beginning. It's like this.
Yeah, that stab.
Yeah.
Let's go and listen to that.
I know there's a lot of really interesting things in this song.
All right, let's go down to keys. Find that. Let's see. That guy right there.
Yeah, I think sounds like a guitar.
That's my guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the cut up guitar.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Wow.
I kind of feel like, and I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like whatever the keyboard part was, because Eric typically will write some kind of like a little keyboard part, like what he did with Strange Invisible, how it had that. Yeah,
That
but
sounds like you to me.
it is. That's what I was going to say. And I think that he had something different that was way too busy or something.
It's the
And so I
usual.
said, and I said, it needs to be more simple or whatever, Fu likes to call my parts kindergarten parts because they're so amateur, apparently. Um, Fu is an amazing keyboard player, of course, so he can get in there and, do all this amazing shit. But I've always come from the school, and I've said this before, of like New Order or whatever, where it's really just these super simple parts, but I feel like they're hookier. I don't actually want to learn how to play keyboards really well because just like guitar, I feel like I'll overcomplicate what I'm doing on keyboards if I really learn keyboards. Like if I become like a really good piano player, I feel like I would overcomplicate parts, which I tend to do on guitar as well. And I think that's what happened. I feel like there was something else. And then,
Let's hear. Let's hear.
yeah,
Oh, was that it?
no,
That
that's like,
sounds like some weird fucking moody Eric shit.
it could be. It
Like
also
that
could,
might have been.
what does it say on the track? Because that almost
It's the
sounds,
neuron. It's the
yeah,
neuron.
I was going to say that sounds like the Hartman neuron.
Yeah.
So that was just a little treat that we added in on the verse.
Yeah. Then
Um,
there's no.
but the but the chorus melody thing, the hook, the
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely something I dig.
Mm-hmm. Key melody. What is this on?
A few things
Super cool
layered.
sound too.
And the other thing, he probably, I think because of the fact that it answers your vocals too, that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
I think originally whatever was going on, it was just conflicting with vocals, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember this song coming together super easy.
No, no, that's what I'm saying. I think that
Yeah,
we got kind of the verse and then from then it was just bang our heads against the wall as per usual.
yeah. I
See where
wonder,
that is.
yeah, I wonder if there's a demo.
God, it's just one of the coolest verses in my opinion as well. I really, really like that. And man, for the life of me, I thought that once we got into the track that we would start to find kind of some of the initial seeds, but it looks like it'd been all but destroyed, just completely destroyed. So let's start with the bass. We already kind of went through keys there, but let's kind of mess with the bass a little bit and see if there's any sort of little reminders or anything like that in there. And I don't think there is. I think whatever started this song was completely wiped away. And you know what? That actually happens. A lot of what we do, there's some new stuff that we're working on that, funny enough, Caitlin and I started in here. And then Amir came in and started working on it. And there might be some pieces of what we did, but it just spurned another idea and turned into a whole other thing and got chopped up. And that just happens. And that's okay. We will go that extreme with some of these songs, but this one, wow, I mean, there's just no vestige of the initial idea. It's so weird. So let's start out with the bass tone. Same thing as usual. You guys can see right here there's two bass lines. I'm going to start with the top one and then I'll add the other. Pretty cool fuzz. And then so you can see that one's just a little bit different tone. It's much quieter. I'm going to add these down here. Oh, as it does its thing.
Sounds like me playing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're getting this error a lot. It sounds like the same kind of blend. I can't even make it through a couple of seconds yet. Yeah.
Somebody said it sounded like Paige playing. Well,
Yeah. You know, it's yeah, it's funny because a lot of what we do still is that
yeah,
thing that we kind of created in Orgy, and in Orgy, it wouldn't be weird. A lot of people saying very Orgy. It wouldn't
yeah,
be weird for Paige to pick up my guitar or Jay, and it wouldn't be weird for me or Amir to pick up Paige's bass, and we we still operate like that. There's still in Julien-K as well. We all will pick up any instrument, and it was like that in Orgy as well. So it's definitely you'll definitely hear vestiges of the Orgy style of playing everything, because in many cases we collaborated on all of it. That was one of the things I liked about being in Orgy, and one of the things I like about being in Julien-K is that it is very collaborative. We don't really mind picking up each other's instruments or playing whatever part we have in mind. It's totally cool. Is that being played two separate times or is it reamped? That's reamped. Yep. Tones layered. Played once. Damone, yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Ken, now you're.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so I have two questions. And I'm gonna try not to make this complicated.
Are you talking through a vocoder?
Ooh, I hope not.
it sounds like it.
Okay, what about now?
It sounds like there's like a note playing whenever your mic picks up. Literally a synthesizer.
Okay,
Yeah.
how about now?
You have killed the synthesizer.
Cool. This.
That's so fucking funny. You literally,
It's
dude
all
was dude was talking to us through a vocoder. I love it. I love it, man. That is the best thing ever.
Okay, all this stuff is connected. Okay, problem
Oh wow,
solved.
Sarah just asked a really good question too. I'll keep that in mind, Sarah.
All right. Let's see here. Two questions. Okay, so California Noir. Okay, so this song is, for the most part, what I'm noticing is that California Noir was written in all major keys, but Ryan, you sing in minor keys. Now, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but then Harmonic Disruptor is like all minor. So whenever you guys are like composing or uh, coming up with your music, do you think about that, or is it just the feeling that you go with, or how does that work?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I mean, there's a lot of times when we'll be writing something and just to break out of that mode, Amir will be like, "Hey, go major, like do something," and we'll try to combine the two. And we always try to we always try to vary things and freshen it up. And if something isn't working, just look at it from a completely different perspective. But the point of using keys, scales, or anything like that is, for us, or for me at least, would be to, as just a roadmap to try something that I'm not thinking of. Because your brain will do one thing. My brain always goes minor, so it's kind of helpful sometimes to just kind of play some major stuff, or work with a scale that you don't normally work with. You know what I mean?
Right. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Cool.
It was interesting too because David asked why was this song chosen as a closure for California Noir. So this kind of plays into what you're asking. Um, when I put together the album orders, there's a lot of things that go into play. One is obviously the feeling of the song first and foremost, but the tempo and the key,
Mhm.
all of that goes into how I order the songs on the album, which is a very old school way to create an album. A lot of people don't care about any of that anymore. And also being a DJ, I have a good sense of how songs flow into each other, how they feel going into each other. So typically I will lay the songs out because of all of these factors, right? And in playing around with all these orders, I just felt like there was something resolving about tempo, or not really resolving, I guess is not the right word. It
But there
sort of
was.
doesn't resolve. The song fades out on the record. And I just kind of thought it was kind of a neat way to leave everything.
Like leave everything open to interpretation. It's a
Yeah,
full.
but it just kind of ended. I don't know. It just kind of
But
ended everything in a cool way.
it also plays into the lyrics and what you're talking about with the tonality of the
Yep.
major versus minor. There is some major shit going on, and it's yeah. This will all play into the end of the session too.
Interesting.
So it just kind of, I play around when we do these albums, I play around with lots of different orders. Like I have initial feelings of like, well, this should probably be here and this, and I start there, and then I just little by little I start playing, chess with it, or checkers, or whatever you want to say, and just start moving things around and kind of see how they, transition, and how it makes me feel when I listen to the whole record too. I'll go from top to bottom, and what is the song that kind of resolves it. And the California Noir collection of all, it's two different, really, it's two full, it's like a double record, sorry. um I really wanted it to be a journey from the beginning all the way through, even through the second record, to the very end. And that's why there's those little interludes and things that happen, like at the beginnings and the ends of the record, and all of that. It's meant to just flow seamlessly through the whole double album, actually.
That's interesting. No, okay,
And
that's
I'm happy with it. I think it came out really good. Like, I don't there isn't, the first album, I don't think I did as good of a job, because we had so many different songs, and it was, I don't know, we had too many songs on that record, honestly. But like the second record, and from there on, I really felt like I got into a groove of how to like get the records to flow, and the key is a big part of it, not only in the writing of the songs, like what you're looking at, of how we, twist and turn major and minor. That's definitely something that I do as a guitar player too. I've never necessarily liked to be constrained that if it's a minor key that you can't do major against it, or
Perry Farrell, we bring that up
yeah.
all the time. Perry Farrell, the
Yeah,
king of like rocking major melodies over minor shit,
minor, yeah.
and it's I mean
There's
it's
something
not
cool about it. It
yeah,
just
it's not a natural thing to do. It's
no.
very unnatural, and you can't do it if you don't know music theory, or if you're not fucked up from some serious drugs, which we think Perry probably is. I think both are a equally okay route to take, depending on where you are in your life. But if not, you got to know a little bit of music theory to be able to put that together.
right.
You got to understand why it kind of works and doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things that happen not only with tempo but with keys. So like when you come out of a song, and let's say the last song was minor and then the next song is major, you get this kind of lift,
They call
right?
it a sunrise moment, which I think it was either Eric or Rudy that just said that.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you get this sort of opening, right? And so it's not only that it's going from minor to major or whatever. It can also be that the key is stepping up a whole step. Like I'm always
Yep.
looking, like if the last song was in G, maybe the next song is in A, so that you go from G to A and you get
Yep.
this lift. Even if they're
Yep.
both minor,
Yep.
still get a lift. And this is like, I learned a lot of this too from DJing, but even just instinctually in my ears, even before DJing, I understood this process, that when you put these songs, there's a reason why they do the things that they do, not only in the writing of them and how this can apply to, a verse or a chorus or whatever, how you can make things lift within the song, but also in the order of a set, of a DJ set, or of an album.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or
all of
yeah,
that
or
plays
or a live band set, which we have to
yeah,
do all
that
the
too.
time. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is something we really put a lot of work into. When you get a good set going, a lot of people go, "Why don't you just mix the songs up or whatever?" Well, to us, it's actually not that easy.
Yeah.
When you get a live set together, it's almost like an album. So we will change it. Like this new set that we're playing on this next tour, that we're going to be out there with Priest. We have new stuff we're adding. There's stuff that we've not ever played before. Actually, there's going to be 2 new songs that we've never played before, which is pretty awesome. And that'll all be there. But once you put that together, like you kind of consider it like that's basically something that's made for that tour. Sometimes we'll make some alternate versions of that set if there's ways to do it. That way we can vary it a little bit. And sometimes we have songs we can pull in and out. But it does become a little bit harder when you find something that just works really, really good for whatever said run it is. So, order is a big, big deal. And bands that don't get that, they definitely have, shows that don't really flow and all that kind of stuff. And it's just super important that the audience, whether listening to your album or seeing you live, the audience has to be taken on that ride. And you got to be careful when you let them down and careful how you pick them up. And obviously the easiest is just to go like this. Woohoo! That's like the classic. That's the classic set. You start at woo and you end on whoo, and it just kind of goes. It just gets more and more exciting through the whole thing. It's much harder to go woo, woo, and then end it. I mean that's yeah. 9 Inch Nails does that pretty well. They definitely do a whole lot of woo, woo. It's a roller coaster. But Trent's got all that. I was listening to a lot of it yesterday, really studying it. He's got a lot of that. I mean, he's got entire albums of this ambient music that he just did with all the modules and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Trent's like, oh, fuck, I've got $100 million. I'll buy every module in the world and make noise with it. I would too. But, you have a lot to play with there. He's got a lot that he can be kind of messing with and making these moody sets. I think moving forward with a lot of the stuff I'm doing here and learning, we're going to probably try to insert some of that moodiness into our sets as well, because we do have the luxury of being a band right now that has the amount of lighting that we bring out on tour now is it's pretty rad. And, if we can make these lights do things during the moodiness, that's all really, really cool. Any more stuff we add is going to be additional lighting to all of that shit. So the show is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it'll be fun to have moody stuff intermixed with all of our exciting music. But these concepts they play into the lyrical content of this song and to your question. And I'm sorry, huge, answers to all this stuff. What else you got?
Okay. One other thing. So, and Amir, this one's for you. So
really little thing. I'm just kidding.
Amir, you made a post on Instagram some time ago. You picked up a new synthesizer as the Chord Wavetable, the wavetable synthesizer, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had that as you guys were recording this song, do you think it would have made the process easier, or or is it one of those things where, yeah.
I don't know that it would necessarily make it easier. Typically, whatever's kind of around is what ends up getting used. I mean, that keyboard has its own unique thing that I think will get used on some of our new songs. But, we have a really good palette of keyboards, so I can pretty much find, as long as I have a few key pieces, I would say, I think I could always find like Julien-K's keyboard sound on something, There's definitely a style of synthesis that we typically lean towards. I love bells. I love FM sounds. But I also like, good, rich analog subtractive synthesis like a Juno or, anything. Something like that is always kind of going to get used. So I don't know that having that keyboard would have, changed anything really.
It's typically not sounds that are the issue. Typically it's songwriting.
Yeah.
That takes the long time. Typically it's just, it could be, a lot of our songs can be played acoustically. Almost every song that we have written can be played acoustically. That's the hard part. is whether or not it's a good song, because we can zhuzh it up with whatever funky keyboard sound, and it doesn't really make as much of a difference as to whether or not the lyrics are memorable and catchy, and the construction of the song makes really good sense and everyone likes it. You know.
Yeah, sorry for the long-winded answer on the key thing, but honestly, all of that kind of encompasses how all of that plays together, even what we covered. So I thought it would
No,
be interesting to kind of talk about it in a broader,
Oh, I think so. Yeah, because it's
in a
such a big
broader,
deal.
yeah,
It's something that is we think about all the time, and we have to consider it all the time when we're writing anything. We're thinking about how it works with the other stuff a lot of times if it's going to go on an album. Sarah asked a really cool question. I have it saved here. I have 31 messages below it, so I'll catch up in a second. Oh, and thank you, Damone. And please, you got another question, just raise your hand and I'll turn you back on. Have you guys ever done a one take song, so to speak? Yes. There's an entire album of it. And it's the sessions that we did in Hamburg. Those songs were recorded live with fans in the sitting around us in the studio. We recorded them live. So if you get that album, what is that album called again, Amir? SDS sessions or something?
yeah. I mean, it doesn't really exist anymore, but it is in a
Yeah.
time capsule as the
Yeah.
Clouds Hill sessions. But
Yeah.
the
You know
vinyl
what?
for that is extremely collectible now if you could ever find
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
My question for her was she just asking if we've, recorded live, or did she mean to come up with a song live?
Yeah, I was going to clarify that,
Yeah.
but that, have we just written a song right off the, I don't know a lot of people that have done that.
No, we're typically, and this has been true for most of the bands that at least Ryan and I have been in.
Oh, she said studio take. Yep. And so the answer would be, yeah, we have.
Yeah.
So all those songs were one take. All of us together. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, typically though, all the bands that Ryan and I have been in, Orgy, Dead by Sunrise, Julien-K, and we also know this about bands like Nine Inch Nails and Linkin Park, is that all of these bands create in the studio. So it's a process where the band isn't typically playing together as a unit. Like we don't have the drums, the bass, and the guitars and the vocals all set up, and we're creating the song in that way. Sometimes in the studio, we have created some songs in a similar fashion, like Photo Voltaire, where I was playing a drum machine. I think Ryan might have been playing guitar or bass, and Fu was playing keyboards or bass or something. I don't remember. But we literally we come up with songs jamming between the three of us. We still do that. We've done that for quite a few songs, and I actually really love doing it that way. And I hope when Fu is here that maybe we can even take a shot at a song like that. But as for like a whole live band going in with a drummer and all that, we haven't really done that. Um, I would actually like to try that though, because we now have a studio where we can do that. And it would actually be fun to maybe go in with one of our drummers and just literally get in there for a day and make a song happen out of thin
Or
air.
even some ideas, some seeds.
Or
Because we
take
could
some
probably do a
ideas.
couple things. Yeah.
Yeah. Go in there and just kind of, try to build off of something on the spot. We've never really had the luxury to do that in this band. Um, and we've done many in different incarnations of that style of recording between Orgy and Dead by Sunrise and Julien-K. And a lot of it was backwards, where we would start the song as a demo, but then go in the studio and rebuild it instead of vice versa, of starting it with the band and then, but anyway, another long-winded answer, but there actually are many different ways that we create songs, and that's always a possibility that could happen.
I wonder if during one of these long-winded answers, I should just restart the computer.
That doesn't seem to be mattering. I was going to suggest actually seeing if the playback engine could be set higher.
Okay, I'll
I
do
don't know
that.
what I
I'll do
won't
that
know
while
what it's
Jeremy
set
asks his
at.
question.
Yeah, I wonder what that's set at. If it's set low, put it as high as it'll go for playback, which is like, I forget, 1064 or something. Um, that could also be something.
Is that on buffer size?
Yeah, what does it say?
256.
Put it all the way up.
All right.
See if it'll go with like 1,000. What is
Yeah.
the?
1024.
Yeah, try that.
Yep. All right. Done.
You
All
never
right.
know.
All right. We have Jeremy.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
Good. My question is kind of two parts. It piggybacks going back to what Amir was saying about how y'all lay out he lays out the track listings for the albums going in a specific order. Do y'all do that with the live shows when y'all pick up, decide how your set list is going to be key signatures and how the flows of the song? Because with me being a DJ and me being a former DJ, one of the hardest things about DJing is a program called Matching Key, where instead of beat matching, you transition the song to song using a key signature, which I know is very, very precise and difficult to do without practice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And well, I've used that mixed in key, it's called. Um, yep. No, it's just one of the many tools as a DJ that came out, I don't know, 10 years ago or something that added to, not only beat matching, like you're saying, but, transitions and feelings and energy and tempos and all these things. But having the key, knowing the keys of these tracks, allowed you to build, ebbs and flows into your set. Um, Melodically as well as just the energy of the songs or the style of the song or whatever. You could go from a banger to a slower track, but when you know the keys as well, there's all these things you can do to make your sets interesting, these transitions. And I actually found that really interesting when it first came out, and utilized it nearly all the time as another tool. But a lot of times I just did it by ear. Most of the time when I was DJing, I was literally flying by the seat of my pants. And those are the best sets, I think. Um, I would typically have something worked out to start, just so could get comfortable. I'd put together like maybe a little bit of an idea of tracks that I would want to start the set with. But then as it would start rolling, I literally would just be like, you know what, this is going better than I thought. I want to go to this level now. And then I would go to a track and start looking in the area of these other tracks. But I would just do it by ear. I would listen to it and like, how does that transition sound to me? Is this going where I want it to go? And then maybe I might look at the key and see, oh yes, it's doing exactly what I want it to do. And then I just roll with it. And then from that point on, it just becomes like, you sort of disconnect from everything, and you just start getting into it, and you just start finding that groove, because it does. And most people don't understand this, that when you're DJing like a long set, like I used to prefer to do the late night sets, all night long basically, and you really do, just like any other instrument or recording or playing or performing as an artist, you get into a groove, like things start to click. It's really weird. So you might be an hour into your set and all of a sudden it starts to come together. Like maybe the first hour you're kind of struggling to figure out where this needs to go, and you're feeling the crowd and you're kind of seeing, but at a certain point it just starts to click, and everything, with the crowd and everything else just starts to work. And that's when time just flies. 3 hours can go by and you're just like, oh my God, like that was amazing. So it's really fun. And obviously utilizing all of these tools was helped me take it to another level, I guess. And most DJs, I'm sure, would agree nowadays. So David was asking who came up with the artwork design of California Noir. Yeah, Tom Dolan. We always worked with Tom Dolan. Like we would have a lot of times we have like a seed of an idea, and it could be anything, and he just gets us. We've always just been on the same page. He hears the music, like we'll play him the music before it's been released. we'll tell him our ideas of what the concepts are, and then we just let him run with it. And usually it's almost always that he comes back right away with the right thing. Sometimes it might take one other, you know, some notes, and then the next time he comes back, he nails it.
Yeah, Tom has been the best art director for so many years, and when we started working with Tom years ago, we really wanted to do more of like a Depeche Mode style approach to our graphic design, and work together on concepts, but have it be these simple, iconic types of things. Tom is very font based in his art. He's really into fonts and creating custom fonts and everything, and that went to the highest level with the harmonic disruptor fonts and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that really made the album what it was. It's really just the fonts, and we've told that story before, I think. If not, we'll tell it again later. But yeah, that's Tom. He just nails it. When I was into this whole California noir vibe, which very much this song kind of feeds into it as well, and I was sending all this imagery, all this kind of stuff, these like dark photography of like the ocean and all this kind of stuff, and neon and all this kind of crap. We didn't know what the album cover was going to be or anything, and Tom had sent that California X, and I was just like, oh my god, that is so perfect. And then coming up with the neon and all that kind of stuff was just incredible. So yeah, I mean, Tom's an absolute beast. I switched my grid to the speaker, and now I can't get it back. Looks like okay. Looks like all Zoom has made some changes since I pressed a few buttons. All right, so let's get back into this. Do we have a link to Tom's portfolio? No, but I believe he's making something that really has a lot of his work. He sent us some pages. Tom is not someone that is going to be super easy to just hire. I don't know if he's semi-retired or if he's kind of doing some design work, but he owned a firm called Polychrome, and Polychrome did design for like the Apple Store and shit, and Hewlett Packard, and they're a fucking they were a big design firm doing really incredible stuff. And I don't know that they had I don't know that they really did portfolios the way that you would think of it right now.
Tom is an artist.
Yes.
First and foremost, he's an artist, period.
Yep.
He's an amazing painter. He's an amazing designer, graphic designer. He was a singer in a band, very
really good too.
Yeah, that was in LA that for a short time reformed and played. They were called Four-Way Cross. You can look them up online.
One of the posters on my wall in there was designed by Tom, and it has when we played with Four-Way Cross.
And they played with us. Yeah. So Tom is just an all-around amazing artist. Like, he's got so much talent. He's very eclectic and strange at the same time, as we all are. But we just have always really clicked. I mean, he did all the Circuit Freak logos and a lot of the artwork for that. He did Dead by Sunrise. He did Julien-K.
He did India's tattoo right there. Yeah, the America with the X.
Yeah, he designed that. Funny enough, the guy that actually created our orgy artwork, and believe it or not, also worked on the first Rough Cut records, who was at Warner Brothers all that time, was Tom's bandmate in Four-Way Cross. And I don't know if I've told this story before, but it's crazy that we had actually started working with Tom for probably a few years, and I never knew that Steve Gerdes, the guy who did Orgy's artwork,
the famous O,
was not only one of Tom's best friends, but they were in a band together.
So weird.
And he had been at Warner Brothers for so long that, like, when he first started, he actually was the overseer of my Rough Cut artwork. So we've had ties to these guys literally my entire life, and their style. They're both extremely talented. So actually, Tom, I actually do want to do like a we're working on it fuckers where we get Tom on here just to talk about his process. He's a very private person, though, so
Yeah.
it's gonna take a little bit of coaxing, I think, to get him to come on here. But I think once he comes on here, he's gonna have so much fun, and he's gonna talk everyone's ear off
Yeah.
because he's very interesting guy.
He's not like me and Amir just come out here and take our clothes off and just, yeah, here's fucking how we do what we do.
He's extremely intelligent too. Like,
Yeah. I think that it's interesting with Tom and Steve. I think that in a lot of ways I think it just goes to show that there are currents in art in this world, and career trajectories and familial relationships really do shape a band and what it is and how it ends up working and looking and sounding. And I think that Tom and Steve, in a very weird way, I always considered Tom like a sixth band member, like an unofficial member of Julien-K, and I still do. And I think Steve is in that boat as well in terms of Amir and I's just artistic career and helping. There was a time when Orgy didn't have a brand and didn't have a look. We had to sit down in a studio with Steve and figure out what that was going to be. And we had to talk about it, and we had to figure out what is this new idea Orgy going to look like.
And he did a lot of different things, and actually a lot of them are really cool.
Yeah. Yes, and some didn't make it. I have one of the things that didn't make it. It was Bobby's daughter, and it was this really dark, crazy picture of her with her lip hold down, and we superimposed a tattoo of a really rad font of Orgy on the inside of her mouth, and it kind of looked like this post-apocalyptic photo of these kids that were in these camps, like with Orgy tattoos, and it was pretty dark. Of course, I was like, "That's the album cover," and the label was like, "Maybe not," And I'm like, "Wait a minute, but it's our drummer's daughter. Like, we're clearly artists. We're just being artists." And they were like,
even then, it was too controversial. They didn't want to go for it. So we had.
I've gotten shut down a variety of times for some of the extreme shit that we've wanted to do. I mean, it's pretty funny, even to this day.
Yeah, it was. I think we had a few concepts that were in a similar way. There were some things that were pretty controversial. One of them was, I remember there was actually a neon sign logo of Orgy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There was a mirror, and I think there was like some kids or something on the beach. And it was just like, whoa. I mean, it was a little too weird.
Yeah.
And then he walked into rehearsal one day with the Orgy O concept. He came in with boards, and he had the O in different colors.
Yeah.
And we all, immediately when I saw it, I was like, that's it. I knew right away. And the red one, I was just like, that's it. But we can use this in multiple colors, like we did for like the Blue Monday single had the blue O, right?
Which we did. Yeah. Yeah.
We ended up using a lot of that stuff, but it was literally after we went through all these other concepts, and they basically got poo-pooed either by us or the label. And then he just walked in one day with that whole thing.
Bam.
And it was just like, oh my God, this is it. It's so good.
There's David said early Korn vibes with the kids on the covers, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that definitely, because Korn was so big, especially at that time, those ideas definitely bled into everyone's album artwork.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone was presented something like, the things that Korn had their own perspective. I think that a lot of the other stuff was more like, kind of like, just like the childlike innocence and and then this heavy music. The juxtaposition wasn't always about some sort of darker, sexual deviance kind of weird shit.
Yeah.
It was more of just like, the unassuming, and the lurking, evil heavy metal rock stars are in the corner.
Funny enough though, in time though, it's good that we made the choice that we did.
Yes.
Had we gone with that now, that wouldn't really look very good.
No, and I think that it started to. I think that Wes just nailed it. It was when we started to figure out that initially when we started Orgy, it was very much about doing something different than what was happening, because everyone sounded like Korn and everyone wanted to be like Korn. And we really decided that we wanted to do something new and different. We wanted to hit those notes. We wanted to be heavy, you know, and get the, we wanted, you know, we were, you know, we like to fight and shit, but we wanted to wear lipstick and wear some tight black clothing and shit like that. So, you know, we kind of had that little thing inside of us. And I think that making the album cover like that versus all the stuff that was coming out was yet another decision that we had made to kind of plant this unique, different flag. And also, there was also a big push at that time to be more like Marilyn Manson, right? Forget about that. He was kind of blowing up at the time too. And here we are with makeup and stuff like that, yet we still did something very, very different than Manson, you know, where he was going with more of this gore and horror and you know, really, you know, satanic kind of shit. We carved out this really decisive swath for ourselves. And I think it was one of those decisions I think I'll be happy with to this day, because we're still able to find a lane. We're still in that lane to some degree, and I think that's really, really cool. This is funny. This session has really gone not really about this song. The song has just spawned. The song has spawned a lot of talk. I hope it's interesting. I mean, judging from all the messages, it's definitely interesting. I hope we're not going so far off the beaten path here. Damon. And by the way, that's fine. We can do that. I mean,
yeah, we can always do a "We're working on it" fuckers on Temple, where I get into more of the minutia of the song, and
yeah,
you know, I think it's always interesting when we kind of go off on these tangents and open these cans of worms and really investigate things in a much bigger picture. I think
it makes me happy that there's enough interest and questions about the other stuff that makes up what we all do and love, that there's enough to actually talk about for what's looking like an hour and a half, you know, which is, you know, that's fucking awesome. Thank you, Edema Shirt. All right, Damon, my friend. Uh-oh.
You gotta
unmute.
I think you have to do it.
No, I did it.
Oh, yeah.
Better. All right. Perfect. All right. No, I just want to put emphasis on how you guys pioneered the subgenres of, well, I guess what you would call nu metal, because there were a ton of, and to your point, Ryan, there were a ton of nu metal bands who were trying to emulate Korn at the time. Didn't quite hit the mark, you know? We had these kind of what I call vanilla nu metal bands in a way. Mm-hmm. But you guys pretty much were part of that pioneering of the subgenres. You know, you have your industrial nu metal, then you have your hip hop ish nu metal, and then there's this one band, Crazy Town. I call them the boy band of nu metal.
Yeah,
you know
I was just on tour with them.
Yeah,
with Seth. Yeah.
So,
and they toured with us a lot, and they were friends of ours big time. And
I worked
Amir and Jay worked on it. Yeah, worked on the album.
Right. You guys, that's right. I remember that. What wasn't that song, Black Cloud? I think Jay did the background vocals on it.
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff on that record, actually.
Right. But, you know, just wanted to put a little emphasis on that. It was a good choice. It was a good choice to do that because, again, we had enough Korn emulations. As a matter of fact, we still have Korn emulations to this day.
Sure.
You know, so thank you. Big ups on that.
At this point, it's kind of interesting because Korn, there's definitely a lot of emulators, and you really had to be careful of that then. At this point, I think they're such the godfathers of this sound. Like with Edema, I almost say, hey guys, remember where we came from. Remember Bakersfield. Remember the Bakersfield sound. Remember Korn. Remember our influences. Pay homage to that. Don't be afraid of it. Let's not try to reinvent that wheel. So I think that now it's almost come full circle, and it's in a really good way where I'm like, hey, look, here's Korn. Okay. We're all in that lane. You know, you Edemas and all that kind of stuff. You original guys, the original guys that came out with that. And we actually, you know, I actually think of that while we're riding in that mode. When I have this hat on, I think of Korn. I think of Jonathan. I think of, like, you know, growing up in that. And I definitely let it, obviously I do original stuff and we do original stuff, but I'm not afraid to let it influence me. Whereas before I would have been like, okay, they're doing this. Let's completely tune slightly differently. Let's play different pedals. Let's be different than whatever they're doing, just so that we don't get in their lane. Now I think their lane is just, it's a tent, right? I can't hear you, buddy.
Sorry,
yeah, there you go. Oh, cool.
I had a habit muted myself. No.
Oh no, hey, not a bad habit.
No, the Korn umbrella, especially in 2022, it how can I put this? It's not necessarily, it has, yeah, I guess I would say that kind of, now it has more of a nostalgic vibe to it, because and it's like you said before with edema, you're paying an homage to the sound, not necessarily emulating it, but at the same time drawing a great deal of influence from it.
Well,
And
respecting it. Yeah, because you got to be careful, with influence and all that kind of stuff and homage is one thing. Homage you might want to do with fashion or piece, but with music you don't want to homage it as much as you want to just respect it and completely embrace and acknowledge that you're in their tent. They own the tent, right? That's the way I think of it. And that's okay. And not only that, it's something to celebrate, not bemoan. So when you're not like afraid of it as much and you're not kind of trying to dance around it, you're in it. I think it opens some doors and lets us be a little bit more of what that band does best. Because I think that when Edema does Edema, it doesn't sound like Korn.
No.
Edema is extremely melodic and riffy. I mean, Tim's this riff master, and Mike, when you put it together, you just get this lush kind of pop kind of soundscape, but with heavy music. So I think they definitely have their own sound. Chris Coles is not a David Silvera. I mean, he's so not. So when you just get those guys to be who they are and don't, the Eye of Sauron is not like gonna possess you. Just go live in fucking Mordor. Just go get in the tent and be stoked. I think it opens up the doors a lot more. And that only came with time. That only came with time. Back in the day, you had to be a little bit more careful about it.
True. True. And again, that's what I'm saying. And again, that's like I mentioned before, like in 2022, it makes more sense. It makes a whole lot more sense now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you almost, in a lot of ways, I feel like you just can't touch Korn because you just can't. It's like trying to go out and be the Rolling Stones. Like, fuck off.
No. Yeah.
Have a great time. You just can't do what those guys do. Those two guitar players and Jonathan, shut the fuck up. I mean, let alone Ray and the rest of the band. But I mean, just fuck, man. How do you even touch those guys? I mean, I couldn't even do the shit they're doing. They're so good, and it's just, Jonathan's just on another planet vocally. He's so good. All I could do is enjoy him the way I enjoy the other, in my opinion, godlike rock star guys like Dave Gahan and Martin Gore and the different guys that I love, Roger Waters and all these other, things where you're just like, whatever, so that's the status they are to me. I mean, yeah, they're my friends and everything, but I mean, as a fan, I'm just like,
respecting the
bow down. Yeah. Bow before the altar.
Exactly.
And you know what? I also get that with Orgy in a lot of ways. I as a fan, when I go back and listen to that stuff, I in some cases when I compare it to a lot of what's going on in the Orgy lookalikes or sound alikes, and some people mention here that not even Orgy sounds like Orgy, and that's obviously why, because the band isn't the band anymore. I definitely, when I hear some of that early shit that we did, I definitely also kind of go like, whoa, we owned that thing. That's its own tent, and I get that. I get that from a stepping back as a fan perspective, which you have to do.
So back to Temple.
Actually,
I just want to see if it'll play.
Yeah, I actually don't think Back to Temple. I think
I know, but I just want to see.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. And Damone, you're not done if you're not done. Here's what I'm thinking, because this is like actually has been really cool. This has been really fun, and we're getting into the hour and a half level, and I have to go to Talinda's because it's her birthday. Are you gonna go with me, Amir?
I
You guys gonna ride motorcycles up there?
don't think so.
Okay. Well, let me know. It's Talina's birthday, so we're gonna go up there. We're gonna have
I mean,
some
we're gonna
fun.
see her later, and we're obviously working on the food situation.
Okay. All right. Um, Here's what I'm thinking. Why don't we do Temple with Foo next weekend?
Mhm.
That actually might be really cool because we were going to do something really special with Foo. I kind of think that this song it's a bit of a can of worms. We could either do that, or we could, Foo might actually be able to kind of even shine new light on it, and we can set up the whole session with multiple cameras here. It could be really, really cool. Do you have another question, Demon?
No. I'm all done for today.
Okay. No worries. I mean, it's totally fine if you do. Yeah. So maybe because we're working on it, fuckers, with Foo. We're gonna make it really special and have because he's actually gonna be here live in the studio, and I'm a little. I think it's kind of
time in
amazing.
a lot. I mean, it's been years.
It's been since COVID. So keep in mind, guys, Foo lives on an island outside of Vancouver. It's fucking beautiful. He has an awesome recording studio and beautiful home on an island. It's amazing. So when COVID hit, we're obviously extremely difficult to work with him in person. We just haven't been able to do it, especially with all the shutdowns and everything. So now it's becoming much, much more possible. And he's going to be in town, and we're going to all be together. We're going to work. We're going to do some stuff. It'll be one of the first times that he's come to town, and we didn't have to just do loads of merchandise and stuff like that, because we handed off the merchandise now to a company. So having him in town will actually be able to do stuff we're supposed to do, create music, get some real work done, work on the core of what makes the band. I think we're all going to go to Rammstein together. That'll be really cool. I think we're going to go to Rammstein with all the guys in Orgy minus Jay, which would be really, really cool. Because we're all still great friends, but it'll be a really cool picture if we can do it, to get Rammstein and Orgy together again after 22 years. We legendarily were absolutely the bastards of Family Values. I mean, we fucking destroyed that tour. So, thank you to Till, who's being super, super nice so far and saying that I can bring a large amount of people. So yeah, it's going to be super, super cool. I know I've seen a lot of people here who went to the Rammstein show, so that's cool. Or did Shyla? Didn't you post a video of Rammstein? I don't know. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, hopefully we can recreate the Music on Shuffle photo. Maybe some of the Korn guys will be there. I wouldn't doubt, I should reach out to Jonathan. Maybe he'll come too. That would be awesome. Anyways, traveling to your neighborhood? Nope, Rammstein's here is going to be in LA next week. They're in America right now, doing a big old stadium run. Cool. So anyways, yeah, so this was a cool derailing. Lot of cool things to discuss, and I feel like Temple is a song like that. It's a big song with a lot going on. I think when we get into all the vocal layers and everything, it'll definitely, there's a lot happening, and the tail of the song is pretty vast as well. So we'll get into all that. I think maybe this is just a two-parter. I think that's really cool. So thank you guys thanks for hanging with us during this session. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful to see you guys. Keith, you look very handsome with your hair. Yep, you and Simon.
Younger.
You and Simon have the haircut kudos. No, I did not get a haircut. This is just laid it down.
Whippersnappers.
I know, these young guys. Right on, guys. Well, it seems like everyone enjoyed it. I hope you guys did. And thank you so much for asking all the questions and getting all the talking to happen. I think it's super fun, super cool. I was very excited to talk to you guys today. I do enjoy these sessions with you guys. It's quite nice. It's quite fun to do. So, all right, I'm going to get on my motorcycle and I'm going to go see Talina And then we're going to watch House of the Dragon tonight with Amir and Talinda and Marissa and Caitlin and the whole family. And it's going to be awesome. And I think, is Caitlin still here with my doggy sitting in her lap? She was watching. Nope, doesn't look like it. Looks like she's working now. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much. I will see you guys this week. And we will obviously, if we get some great pictures from Rammstein, we'll be posting them and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
See you
See you
next
soon.
week.
All right. Bye, guys.